compelling content here, it's my extreme honor to welcome two Puerto Ricans. They are local now. We have Cristina Mancini, CEO of the Beyond Code Collective, and Ramon Clemente, who is a professional basketball player for the national team, as well as other professional teams. Indeed. And the proprietor of Clemente's Cafe. I heard the coffee's pretty decent. Good stuff. So we're going to start the conversation off just learning a little more about Beyond Code Collective from Cristina. You have this distinguished corporate career. Most of us know you from Salesforce and Fox and other things. Then you took on this thing called Black Girls Code. Tell me more about that.
Thank you. First, thank you for having us. It's a great honor to be here, and thank you all to sharing your time with us this afternoon. I, as you know, worked across many different organizations, 20th Century Fox, Salesforce, but it was really my time at Salesforce when I realized that there was a conversation that needed to be had, that I wasn't able to say the quiet stuff out loud when I was working inside of an organization. And so I tried to do what I could with programming on the fringe, make change, leading through change, the inflection point, but I really couldn't get to the core of how to make sure that all of us, every person in this room, is reflected in these emerging technologies that are coming down the pipeline. At the level that I was at Salesforce, looking down, it was very clear that DEI was dying already before I joined, so it's not like I was caught off guard after I joined, but I don't think any of us could have predicted exactly what was going to happen in the following year. And so I took over at Black Girls Code in October of 2023, instead of going to another tech organization to basically build the same thing, because when you think about who's coding your future, the answer is simply not satisfying. And so part of my work at Black Girls Code was stabilizing the organization, reactivating the community, traveling around the nation, doing a lot of public speaking. And in that, I had a lot of parents asking if their sons could come. And could they come to camp? Could they come to the enrichment activities? And of course, the answer is no, because we have to keep these spaces safe for our girls, and that mission is far from over. But it did start weighing on me, especially as I went around and asked people, you know, someone asked me when I was speaking in Qatar if I was queen for a day, what would I want? And it was that every parent would have the conversation about AI with their child. But then I reflect on how many people hire me to come speak and then ask if I will personally help them think about how to use AI, so who's talking to the kids. And so we decided that Black Girls Code needed to remain 100% focused on its mission, but we also needed to solve for the whole community. And so we launched Beyond Code Collective. And Beyond Code Collectives for everyone. It includes intergenerational tech hubs. I believe we're missing the town square. We need a place where we can all come and learn together, experiment together, and launch together. We have programming like After the Game, which we'll speak to. We have Beyond Code Catalyst. I really want to create a space that is literally for everyone, a safe space where you can raise your hand and say, I don't know. And that was a really long answer, but that's how I got here.
Great. Thank you so much, Cristina. Please give her a hand. So Ramon, what I didn't hear in her conversation was her attending a professional basketball game. So how did this connection happen? How did you come to Beyond Code Collective? Tell us a little bit more about your story.
So it's crazy how coincidences happen. Me coming out, you know, my last season I had with basketball, I had a frustration towards the end of my season. And I was this close from just getting on the plane and going home towards the end of the season because things wasn't going my way. I spoke on the phone with one of my friends, and he told me, Ramon, you're about to release your coffee. Don't let anything distract you or stop you or slow you up from finishing the things that you want to do. And it's all going to make sense towards the end, but me saying, okay, you know, I'm going to put my pride to the side and I'm going to finish the season because no one wants to get to the end and change things up. You know, I spent the last 17 years as a professional basketball player, 21 years on the road from home. I'm a kid from Queens, New York, high school dropout, got my GED to my associates at junior college in Texas, and I got my bachelor's in Wichita, Kansas. And I promised myself that you got a second chance. You know, usually it's not common you hear someone just come from it. I never played high school basketball, just in the park, you know, regular kid from Queens. It's not a common story where you can show the blueprint to a kid that was a dropout, or they tell you you don't have hope. This is a common thing. You see the neighborhood dealers, you know, you guys know how it go. And these are the people that we look up to. So getting that second chance is like, all right, you know, I'm out of trouble. I don't have to stress my moms. This is a way to, you know, especially early, financially I can't do it, but me being out of trouble is just as equal, probably if not better, you know, less stress. So as I'm on that road, I'm getting through with things. When Balkman, my friend Ronaldo Balkman, he gave me that call and he told me to stick with it, I end up with the coffee. The coffee becomes a success. A mutual friend with me and Cristina, you know, linked us, and we had a conversation where she texted and she asked me, what's up with the coffee? You know, and I got you with the coffee. And, you know, she just being concerned, especially with the mutual friend, like, how's everything going? How is life going? And this is me in my transition trying to figure out in tech. And I said the words tech, light bulb, Cristina. Today's your lucky day, Ramon. I'm in tech. And this space, and before, it felt so gatekept trying to get in tech. And I'm talking about people that's like close to family, really like I got you, Ramon. And I didn't know how hard it was. I'm thinking, you know, you go into YouTubes and the Instagrams and the TikToks, these, like the influencers make it seem so easy and like 1, 2, 3, but at the end of everybody's call, it's a, you know, send me some money and I got you. So, you know, it's hard to really get that answer when all these avenues you're looking through is, you know, either some type of catchphrase where they're trying to get your money, or the people that you think will look out is more gatekept, and it's like where's the answer? Nothing came out of that. And, you know, Christina's telling me, let me tell you about Beyond Code Collective. You know, we didn't release yet, but let me put you in this situation right here and tell me what you think. That 3-month time where I was trying to figure it out, having no answers, the first day I spoke to Cristina, I got more information in that first day than what I got in the 3 months. Now, remember when I said how times wasn't going right towards the end of my season, my friend doesn't call and tell me to stick that through. I don't follow through with my coffee. Cristina doesn't ask me about my coffee. And through a coffee, this is why I put even more emphasis on my coffee, because, you know, I just feel like that's my glue right now, because I'm never gonna let that go. It's like my good luck charm. This is how I ended up here in Beyond Code Collective right now, through a bag of coffee. And, you know, someone that is very important to me, Cristina is very important to me. She saved that a lot, and I can't really give all the information today, but Monday there will be a surprise. Just to throw that out there, there will be a surprise on Monday. So if everyone will stick around, pay a little bit more attention, this story will make even more sense on Monday.
So, please give him a hand. So Cristina, you've done some cool things in your career. You clearly had other options, I'm sure far more lucrative, perhaps even better weather than Puerto Rico. All this is doubtful. But someone said you had a different sun today. Like this is really intense sun here. That being said, what's your why?
I've always been interested in impact. As my career progressed, starting to think about what I could do as opposed to just ticking boxes for playbooks, to make things more interesting, is ironically how I ended up building an interesting career. Looking at like what hasn't been done, like what should we be doing? I think all of us at some point in your day at work, you go like, this isn't, why am I here? We actually spend more time at work than we do with our families. And so thinking about how I could start creating more impactful work is how I started. Even when I was at 20th Century Fox, I launched the first AFI initiative we had to find women directors to have access to our franchise tentpoles. Now, this was a while ago, but at the time, it was funny because this was around Hidden Figures. At this time, there was not a lot of like women directors directing tentpole features. And so they were like, well, we'll give you, okay, sure, we'll build story worlds. Because just like the conversation we're having around tech, community, building a pipeline, knowing people, networking, apprenticeships, internships is how you end up getting on in these spaces. So if you're kind of also gatekept because the agents know who the directors want to hire, who the studios want to hire, who the actors feel comfortable, it just doesn't create space for other people to have a voice. And what a loss that is when you look at some of the incredible work that has come out now. But when I was in tech, thinking about all the voices that were being left behind because they didn't look like the traditional technologists was really unfortunate. And instead of it being a problem, I just saw it as an opportunity to introduce people to a new audience, a new demographic. Could we change the face of tech? Yes, 100%. I just think that we have not had enough of a conversation with our communities so that they understand that tech is for them. I want to double click on something that Ramon said earlier about just watching, the videos or trying to do the online courses. People try those things, unfortunately, and give up. But they feel like they're the only ones that gave up. But the reality is MIT and Google put out a study, and you have a 5% chance of completing a course online by yourself. And it ratchets up to 95% if you're part of a cohort. And that's why we structured Beyond Code Collective the way that we did, by making sure that there's always a human in the loop. I talk about that a lot when I talk about AI. AI without a human in the loop is catastrophic for a myriad of reasons. But we always have live teaching. Now we have hubs. We want to bring one here to Puerto Rico. We just launched our first one Monday in Atlanta with Georgia Tech. How can we work together with the community to build things with you so that we are all in this space? So I guess the long answer, again, to your question is I want us to win together. I spend a lot of time worried about what is going to happen to our communities if we are actually not in the room, and there's just not enough conversation that is happening around that.
Great, thank you. And I'm going to have a follow-up with the AI question after I ask Ramon about tech in the game, so be prepared. So the last 3 years of professional sports in the U.S. have taken quite a left with respect to tech, gambling, legalized gambling, all that. As you think about getting more athletes engaged in the tech sector, how do you expect that work to go, or I guess the strategy to go, knowing that there's so much tech already in the game, there's so much analytics already in the game that has nothing to do with the game but the wagers being bet on it?
Well, as far as the betting and with the athletes, one thing to also mention is in Beyond Code Collective, Cristina was listening to my concerns. One of the concerns I had was life after sports. And if I was selfish, I could have just got in where I wanted to be, and I could have just rode off into the sunset, but I kept continuously expressing my concerns like, okay, I'm cool, but what about my teammate? What about my peers? What about my opponents? Like, what about the guys that is doing the same? They've been away from home and they're putting in all this work. Like, why should they be penalized for doing the right things? Sometimes when you're coming from sports, you catch athletes getting in trouble, being in situations. One of the worst things I can tell you, and I didn't experience it yet because I didn't retire or anything yet, but one of the worst experiences is being 6'3", 6'5" plus, and someone asking you like, why are you not playing basketball, or what are you doing, or how much money you're making is just, like, I'm no different than you. I'm just so
I wish I could relate.
Yeah, but so in that space right there, I just felt like, something has to be done. So this is crazy how things work. Cristina hearing me out, and just like Ramon, like, I think we can do something with this. And that's when, after the game was birthed, and I was able to receive my own cohort to push forward to getting athletes into tech. So to speak what you just said, I think it's bigger than even that. I think we're giving the freedom to athletes to figure out what they want to do. Because she asked me 100 times, okay, you want to be in tech, what do you want to do? And that was something I had to figure out. And cybersecurity is the route that I want to go. I tried to look for something as AI proof as possible, because all of this, when you open your phone, everyone's talking about AI, and we swear that a robot is going to take over everything tomorrow. But the truth is early development. It's going to take some time, you know. And cybersecurity is one of the spaces that I wanted to be in. My bachelor's degree is in criminal justice. I'm kind of old right now from the time I graduated in '09, so it's hard to walk up and say, what's up? They're going to make me crazy, you know? So this is more so we're giving athletes a space to figure out the direction that they want to go in, and we're going to give them the blueprint. Yesterday, like, we're in Puerto Rico right now. Yesterday, we were all at the table, like putting it all together and putting paths together, and like we're trying to find different strategies, because even if we got it all together here today, the way tech is, they can scratch all of that, and then you have to learn new things tomorrow. So this is one of the best things where not only just, you know, you get used to just using your body for your advantage, but now it's like we're not stupid athletes. We like to use our minds too, you know, and I think this is a different way to flex that. It's not just about that. You know, we all heard of the shut up and dribble stuff. Like, we're people too. And you guys, if you did play sports, you understand. I'm sure everybody in this room plays sports at some point, but it just sucks that you get put in a box and you get this identity of it's just sports, and that's more of a youth thing. Like, when you get older, then what? That's it. Like, we don't like to use the word retirement. We don't like to use the word retirement. Transition. Retirement just sounds like that's it and it's over. Like, I just turned 40 and I feel old from the things that they put in your mind. And the only reason I know 40 is not old is because the people I'm around now tell me, like, yo, you're still young, you know? So these are things that I'm still learning, and I'm trying to unlearn all of these things that they just put in your head, you know? And after the game is bigger than just tech, like, this is like almost therapy at the same time. I text Cristina this morning, like, game day, like, we got to get to it. Like, I'm waking up early in the morning. It really felt like a game this morning because I'm still keeping that competitive edge. And like, everything that I'm leading the charge for right now, but we're going to have athletes grow in this space to not only know the direction that they want to go in tech, but also growing as a person. This is way bigger than just getting a certificate and learning and get your job. Like, we're having full conversations. I just had an hour-and-a-half therapy session with one of the young guys the other day, and this is like, not only we're putting this cohort together, but it's going to be a community too. One of the things that we put together, the first thing that we do is we want to get to know you as a person first. Like, we have people lined up that's kicking doors down to get into spaces to help out athletes. So before we give you a cert and just tell you can do this, like, who are you as a person? What are you going through? What help do you need? Like, what are your struggles right now? You know, everyone has their own different stories. I just happened to luck up that I had coffee and I was able to talk to Cristina. Someone doesn't have that. You know, someone probably has a Ramon to hit them up and say, like, what do you have going on right now in life? You know, so the first cohort, and I won't throw names out there, but we have the first Puerto Rican WNBA player in our cohort. We have a 2013 Golden State Warriors draft pick in our cohort. We have a Kansas University 10-year Puerto Rico national team player. He played for 16 years as a professional player in our cohort. We have a former Timberwolves player in our cohort. These are big-time people trying to get into tech. But if you see the everyday person, they're gonna be like, he's all right, she's all right, she did this. And it's like, no, we made our money just like you, just in a different way. And for some reason, everyone thinks that all athletes just made $100 million and they have $100 million in the bank. And if you still don't have it, then you messed up. Some of the money that we made will probably last us for X amount of time, you know? But being put in that box is not fair. It's not right at all. So this is bigger than tech. This is like helping athletes transition into the next phase of life, not the end of something. Like, I'm not gonna retire when I'm done. I'm gonna rewire my life. It's a total difference. That's two different things, you know? So I hope I answered the question, but that's where we're at. We're trying to have you in the tech space.
I rebuke 40 is old.
Neither do I.
Yes, I rebuke it. But so when you listen to what he is saying, you can understand why the conversation is interesting. We love our athletes. Our athletes entertain us and inspire us for years, but not a lot of people are thinking about what really happens to them after the game. And you know, we have grants from a couple of different sports leagues, and they're like, we have these different programs, but the programs, it's interesting. If you think about the evolution of technology and the opportunities to work in the field, I'm still allergic to saying industry after working in film. If you have worked in this field, and you're between the ages of 30 and 45 right now, you miss the conversation that technology is an opportunity for you to work in. And so when everyone's now talking about technology and all the different opportunity, you don't opt in. And so when I met with the individuals that are part of his cohort, that was the first thing that one of the athletes said. She was like, I never thought that this is something that I could do. It's like, yes, you actually can, and we're gonna make sure that you're successful. And he touched on something that I'm really proud of our organization, Beyond Code Collective, our leadership team. We are technologists, we're corporate executives, we are building a workforce for the workforce that's necessary, but also thinking about what does entrepreneurship look like, really providing that wraparound programming so that when you come through, to his point, you feel supported.
You know, your comments here and outside can remind me, I told you my cousin's story. It was a professional athlete, and when he left the game, floundered for half a decade until he found a car wash. I mean, he was doing some wild stuff, just random things, and we're like, what's wrong with Mike? What's wrong with this guy? You know, made all that money, and he's blowing it, right? So I owe him an apology. Thank you for that. But it struck me that after the game is the same story as you, because now the quarterly reports with your name aren't there anymore. You left a game too. You left an applause as well. All of us have left something. So we're all experienced after a game. For many of us, multiple games. So I applaud you on this narrative shift, because transition is a part of humanity. It's just what we do. And in the Western world, we have the advantage and privilege of doing it as many times as we are physically and intellectually able. So I encourage you all to continue on to that. Now, AI. Yes. Reports are out that up to 30 to 40% of white-collar jobs will be taken over by AI in the next 10 years. What say you?
I have so many things to say. First of all, as a media executive, I love a good hype cycle. We are in like a crazy hype cycle right now. When you think about some of the conversation that is out there, some of the conversation is put out there because it makes investors invest. So I just want to go back in time and remind you that the same people who made the social media platforms that were not 100% inclusive are the same people who are developing these platforms, these technologies that are not inclusive, that are fed off of the other platforms, and they also own the media. And so if you do start following along, what you will see is that how many organizations have fired their whole team and start failing because you need people. What people have not considered is, have you brought your team up? Does your team know how to use this technology? I wrote an article for a Fast Company. The focus of it was something I call the shame spiral, where no one wants to raise their hand and say, I don't know. And as a result, people are making terrible decisions for their companies. They are firing people way prematurely. We know that the technology is not there, but nobody wants to be left behind. You definitely want to be the CEO who says, I fired everybody, and therefore I'm 10xing my... But however, it's unfortunate if you are in an industry that has anything to do with, say, healthcare or finance or education, because you are implementing a technology that is still deeply biased. And one of the reasons that I originally decided to move from the film division at 20th to the tech division was I was at a conference in San Francisco, and it was incredible. It was like 2016, and everything that they were showing felt almost dystopian. I was like, man, but that stuff's all happening today. But what was problematic was when the keynote speaker asked if anyone had any questions, I raised my hand, and I said that at a glance, it seems that I am, in fact, the only black woman in this room, and it feels that I should not be the only black woman in this room. And he scoffed at me, and he said, algorithms are math, and math can't be racist. And I think we know now, like, just exactly how inaccurate that statement is. The fact is, who inputs the data deeply matters based on your lived experience. The inputs of the data determine the algorithms. If you have a company that's struggling and you think you're just going to implement AI to fix it, It's not going to happen. Good data hygiene, which everyone's already struggling with. I know that because I worked at Salesforce. Is something that you need to be thinking about, like how to A, think about what your organization is doing, B, how to create a learning space so people come along with you, and C, for anyone who's in this room, I encourage you to at least get a baseline understanding of what these technologies can and cannot do. It's incredibly important that you do speak to your children about AI. You might be an investor in this room right now for an upcoming technology. You should ask who's developing it. You should ask what are the inputs that determine the algorithms that make the decisions about who gets a loan, who gets the next level of healthcare. I'm anti-AI schools, full stop. Like that, I mean, what exactly are we teaching the kids? And yeah, I think that it's way oversold. What I will say is, to finish that thought, I have ADHD, so like I got really excited about what I said, so I had 6 different ideas that I wanted to share with you. But the yay for the neurodivergence in the room.
Here, here. Where are my meds?
Yes, I'm sitting here, I'm like, I've got 900 ideas from the meetings I had before we sat down. Right. I want you to understand what you're investing in. I want you to understand there's policy people in here. What are you legislating? I want you to understand what you're teaching. I want you to understand what you're building. I want you to understand what you're telling your children. I want you to understand what questions to ask your teachers. There will come a time when you manage an agent and a person. Well, how can you manage an agent when you don't know how it works? So.
Great. I'm going to ask one question of each of you again, and then I'll open it up to questions because we have a little time. But I just want to double click on the AI. So is AI fluency what should be taught?
Yes. People think that they're using AI because they're just using it to do emails. You need to really understand how, and that's one of the things that we're teaching at our hubs, and we are rolling out our online learning platform as well, which will also have live teachers to teach you, so you're not just doing courses by yourself, is how to use the technology to be better at your job, how to use the technology in a way that you don't experience my new word that I shared with my new friend in the back, cognitive miserliness, yes, where you're offloading your cognition and your creativity and your ability to do all the things that, if you look at jobs for the future, that's what people are hiring for, discernment, creativity, just something to remember. These technologies are giving you answers that almost feel sentient because it's based on hundreds of millions of inputs, but it's still only 10% of the data that's outside in the world. Most of that data is still proprietary in your CRM, in your phone, in your head. And you need to be thoughtful about how, if you are a creative, if you are a business strategist, if you want to build something new, it might deter you because it's only going to give you advice based on all the things that have already happened in the past. Just going to leave that there.
So Ramon, in your leadership role of this vertical called After the Game, say we're 5 years from now and we're, I don't know, FOTD10 in Zimbabwe, and you've had a very successful 5-year tenure for the After the Game. What would be the elements of that success?
The coolest thing about this is I'm an athlete. I have a community behind me. I represented the Puerto Rico national team for 9 years. That's a whole island of people. I've played in different countries where I still have family and friends and everything, right? I'm one athlete. What about the next athlete that went to a KU and had tens of thousands of fans? He brings a whole community. All it does is we're really changing the game, because that thought of when it's over, like I'm 40 and I'm telling you, I hear it like, what's next? What's like, I don't know, bro. Like I got a game, I'm worried about basketball, that's it. Like, you know, I know like in the real world outside of basketball, that's something that you have to have on your mind. But like I said, the plan A, we locked in. So in this case right here, every player is gonna have a community behind them. Every player has fans. Every player has kids that look up to them. We get to influence the kids. We get to influence the next. And I think you know, success for me in the 5 years is getting my peers into tech to figure out what's after sports versus taking jobs they don't want to do, that makes them uncomfortable, that makes them embarrassed, to put them in situations of money they don't want to make. I'm not saying it might not be the same as what you did with basketball, but who knows, it might be even better. Because the truth is, everyone doesn't make the money that you think. And I'm not downing anybody, but this is just the truth. But we get so much pressure that sometimes players have to, like, they kind of like overdo it, or you have to look a certain way. There's been plenty of times where I went to the party and I don't want to pay for everybody's stuff. But, you know, yeah, you know, but the thing is though, you're the athlete, you know, you're the athlete, and it's the identity you got, and we get caught in that, like, yeah, I'm the guy. Even if we're uncomfortable, it's like, I'm not gonna embarrass myself. So just even that right there, that's a conversation we can have with younger guys to let them know it's okay to say no. But like I said, it's bigger than just tech. This is a community that we're building, and to be under Beyond Code Collective to give us this opportunity, I think is special. Like other leagues, NFL, NBA, they have their programs, and I think it's great because they're teaching other players on how to invest their money and save and stuff, and that's cool, and it makes it even better because it's not competitive. It's ways we can work together. You know, we're trying to get players into tech. You guys are teaching something like this, like let's do something together, and I think that's another way it's gonna grow, especially over a 5-year span. But, you know, I see players getting into tech and, you know, continue to live life versus being uncomfortable.
Awesome, thank you. So we're gonna switch to questions for the audiences for about 7 minutes, and then I'm gonna ask them all to do summative statements. But just one more thing I'm gonna put in the atmosphere for you, sir. You're younger than me, I can say young man. That you be the face of career transitions, period. Can someone hand Mr. Bullitt a mic? We have a fourth mic. This is Rodney Bullard from same house, Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. But we had the opportunity of hosting you all in Atlanta, and we really learned a lot, and I've learned so much here as well. My question is, are you international? Are you doing things beyond the borders of the United States?
We're starting to. Our expansion here is part of that. We hope to expand further into the Caribbean and also into Africa.
Next question. Right here in the front row. Thank you, Maria.
Fabulous outfit.
I was thinking the same about you.
Walked by, I was like, yes.
Thank you. Listen, it's so great to see you. I was introduced to your organization through BDPA like 15 years ago. And so thank you for your leadership and everything that you're contributing. So look, Black Girls Code, it is transforming the future and of technology. And so my question is, as you look ahead to the next decade, and you have all these beautiful people of color, of the diaspora, that are here to make change, what systemic changes must happen in tech so that the future leaders, the Black girls that are going to be coding and developing, what do they need? Especially as being the only one in the room, which, by the way, I just wrote a book named The Only One in the Room. I'd love to send you a copy.
Yes, please.
I will, yes. So what do we need to do to help the young girls?
For Black Girls Code and for Beyond Code Collective, we have 3 pillars, and it is inspire, educate, and launch. If you look at our Black Girls Code social media pages, anytime that I'm stressed, I look at them. It gives me so much joy. Like being able to go to the camps to spend time with the girls, watching the light bulb turn on over their head as they code something that moves, and understand that this is for them, especially when girls are told so much that math's not for you, tech's not for you. Building community is really important. Making sure that we have that wraparound support, like how to understand something that anytime I do public speaking for like a focus is at schools is what is your value proposition? I believe deeply that the way that we talk about Black people in tech is not right currently. It's too much rags to riches. It was a battle that I fought when I first moved into tech. We are incredibly brilliant, innovative, creative people who are joyful. Why is that not more represented? So I welcome you to look at our Black Girls Code, even the Instagram and see. I was talking to somebody about robotics. Our girls making drones also, like building out, yeah, actually doing the work and the joy. Our summer camps involve not just learning the tech, but also understanding project management and presentation at the end of summer camp. Our kids present to the parents and the whole family when they come. That's ironically how I ended up speaking to so many of the families who were like, I want my son to do this as well. So again, and we expanded the age for girls as well. Through college into your first job, we are activating college chapters across the nation. Just again, to his earlier point, it's not just about hands-on keyboard, it's also about community. And when you are the only one in the room, having someone to talk about it with, because by the end of my journey in this space, it is my deep desire that we can scratch the word resilient next to Black women at work.
Oh, I see more questions back here. If we can pass the mic. I'm sorry, I'm Reggie. One step before you go, I just have one clarification. Is Beyond Code Collective the enterprise and Black Girls Goes Under, or are they side by side?
Two separate
Got
organizations.
it. Okay, great. Thank you. Reggie.
Just that specific question about for the seasoned of us in the room that are not familiar with tech. Can you just specific? Is there something we can go on this website and learn ourselves? Just give us the nitty gritty.
Absolutely. We just launched our new website where you're going to be able to sign up so that you'll be able to sign up for online learning that's going to start in May. The programming is already running at the Forge. The athletes cohort is up and running now. There'll be a wait list for people to join in the future. And we have Fonz, who's my head of our digital space right here, who's building out all of these pathways for us right now. So, and again, you will be able to learn some things. There's going to be a quiz so you can understand what pathways are relevant for you. But just know that when you do join a cohort, there will be a teacher that's going to be teaching you whatever modality it is that you decide to follow.
Yes.
Hi, one question. Are you all looking into or starting to work with quantum computing at all?
Yes, it's amazing when you have like the community. You want to say something, Fonz? Yeah, go ahead.
That question is fantastic. I think quantum computing is the future, and we are interested in making sure that we provide our community with as much information as possible. So right now we are in the process of building up our curriculum and would love to talk with you more about that. Are you in the quantum computing space?
So interesting. I have a client that is, and so because I started to study quantum physics, right? And so that sounds like a big word, but I think, we have to be on the cutting edge of what's next. We can't be trying to catch up. So, I'm no expert, but I do have a person. I know somebody that knows somebody.
Well, that's fantastic. And anybody else in the room that knows somebody that wants to partner with our organization, please, we are open.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Fonz.
Next question.
That actually leads me in. But first off, Cristina, Ramon, thank you so very much. Y'all, put your hands together for them. That was the perfect segue to my question, and I say this very purposely because I want other people to be open about this. I lead the nation's third largest NAACP chapter. I represent 2.2 million people across 13 jurisdictions. My partner is an elected board member of the United Nations. We cover the world, right? And every person in this room has a story just like that. What can we do very tangibly to support you and your initiatives? One of the core C's of the Festival of Diaspora is to collaborate and co-create. How can we directly support what you are doing? We need to know so that we can lock in and get the ball rolling.
Thank you for that. Yes. Well, these are two separate nonprofits. So obviously donations are always key for us. They help us make sure that we have excellent programming, excellent executives, excellent wraparound services, but also the collaboration, the partnership. We're not here as we're the only answer. As Fawn said, we would love to collaborate with those who want to ensure that there's this moment in time where we have the opportunity to leapfrog legacy systems that left us out of the conversation. So what can we do to come together to move the conversation forward? Volunteering, mentorship. We're looking for a place in Puerto Rico now to open a forge. So if anybody has any thoughts about that, we would welcome that conversation as well.
Great. Last question, Mr. Hatcher.
So thank you very much. I appreciate this. I rock with you. I've hired 50 graduates out of Black Girls Who Code. So I know all about your work. So what can we do? This direct question, hire them. They need jobs, right? Like what's happening right now in the AI space, the youngins, the robot can do that. You gotta hire them. If you got a head count, look for it on their resume. You know they good people. They learned something. Hire them. That's your call. So I love.
First of all, thank you. Yes. Yes. One of the sections that we are going to have on our website is if you do want to hire, sign up here and let us know what you're looking for. One of the beautiful things about tech, to Ramon and Cordell's earlier point, is tech is changing so fast. And because of the technologists and the instructors that we have in the organization, we're able to be adaptive to make sure that we're teaching not, the curriculum from 2022.
That's beautiful. I was just looking for, do you have partnerships with folks who are committed to hiring your graduates? That's what I was hoping.
Also, I appreciate you saying that because, one of the biggest things is creating those relationships with exactly what you said. And that's a big deal because at the end of the day, people do have to hire, like everyone coming through Beyond Code Collective. So one of the things with after the game, we would love to have those relationships. We can get apprenticeships set for us or any type of situation where we can do that because I tell my players, I don't care what happens, I'm going all in to make sure everyone gets their opportunity. That's my dedication to the people that I'm speaking to. So I appreciate you even saying that. That's gonna be a huge ending for everyone when they get to that part of the road.
Great. So, Ramon, since you have the mic, the last word you want to leave this group with, the mic, the floor is yours.
The one thing I would like to say is give people the chances. And when I say that is, we all heard the thing that you never know what a person's going through. And this is bigger than just athletes, just people in general. Give people a chance. So like that, if you have the opportunity to give someone a chance, then do so. If you have the opportunity to, if you know an athlete, tell them to go to Beyond Code Collective's website and sign up. Any little thing that helps, that push someone's forward, just do it. And also enjoy Puerto Rico as well.
Awesome, thank you. And ClementesCafe.com. Cristina, last word.
First, I just wanted to say thank you for creating space for this conversation to happen. I really appreciate it. And it's been great. Looking across the room, making eye contact with all of you, it just feels like family. So thank you again for that. I appreciate that. The work is hard and we can't do it without you. So again, I hope that the conversation doesn't end here. To his point, give these technologies a chance. Opt in. These technologies, it's not too late for us to have a voice in how these technologies that are actually deciding our futures today are being developed. Can only get better with your voice in it.
Great. Please give them a hand. It's an amazing panel. Thank you.